Mass Effect Andromeda was bad. Like, really bad. Pretty much everybody, except for a handful of retarded fanboys, agree with that. One of the biggest reasons people hated it, myself included, was because it tampered with lore established in the Mass Effect trilogy. The original Tridge, as I call it. When I heard that they were making a new Mass Effect game after Mass Effect 3 came out, I knew pretty much instantly that they'd mess it up. I mean, it's EA, come on. But nevertheless, I held out hope that they would create a decent game that was conducive to the mythology of the series. And of course they didn't. They screwed it good. I mean, seriously, humans in the Andromeda system, when we haven't even fully explored our own galaxy? Really? Anyway, I was reflecting upon this recently, so I thought I'd share some of these random game ideas I had. So here it is, a list of lore-friendly side Mass Effect games that I wanted instead of Andromeda. Mass Effect First Contact. Imagine, you are a Shizno soldier during the First Contact War, fighting Turian scum. Then, after an uneasy peace is brokered, you are chosen to be among the first to represent humanity in space. Unlike Mass Effect, where everything has already been mapped out and discovered in the galaxy, it would be almost entirely new to you. Imagine having never gone to the Citadel before, but you get to be one of the first humans to go there. I mean, at the beginning of the game, you're this human soldier that never knew aliens existed, but then suddenly you're thrown into this war, and then you get to go out to actual space and meet whole new aliens that the human race has never met. This would have been BioWare's opportunity to give us the real Captain Picard experience of exploring space for the first time and establishing relations with new species. Right, this is different from the original Tridge, where humans already have very delicate and deeply entrenched political relationships with all the other races, right? They're cool with the Asari, we're more or less cool with the Turians by this point. We don't really have relations with the Krogan, but we're sort of enemies with the Batarians, and so on and so on. Imagine being on the ship that first butted heads with the Batarian, or being the first human to share a drink with the Solarian. So this would basically be a twofold experience. The first fold would be warfare via the First Contact War. It would give us the chance to explore this very important event in the history and lore of the Mass Effect universe, right? The whole reason why humans are out in space in the first place. And then the second fold would be diplomatic exploration. You know, going out, exploring the galaxy for the first time, meeting new species, forging diplomatic and personal relationships with completely foreign creatures for the first time, whether it's on the Citadel or out in space. Mass Effect Rebellions. This game's campaign would be divided into 3 protagonists. Kind of like Grand Theft Auto 5, only, good. So you would play as a Krogan, a Turian, and a Solarian during the Krogan Rebellions. It would give players the opportunity to explore the biggest lore events of Mass Effect firsthand, namely the Krogan Rebellions, and the subsequent deployment of the Genophage. What makes the events and the use of the Genophage so compelling is how morally gray the Genophage is. Right, everyone has a different perspective on the Genophage, depending on which species you talk to, and they're all correct in their own way, right? The Genophage isn't black and white, even though the game sort of wants you to think it is. From the Krogan's perspective, it's a horrific war crime that's causing the extinction of their species. From the Turian's perspective, it was a very regrettable but necessary action to save themselves from being conquered by the Krogans, who would just not stop. From the Solarian's perspective, the Genophage was an ideal solution to the Krogan problem. One that both reduced their rampant population growth, which was a problem, while also saving the Turians from enslavement or extinction. Now imagine playing these 3 characters. A Krogan battlemaster during the rebellions, leading their troops on a noble crusade to conquer the unworthy aliens that interfered with the Krogan society, use them like dogs of war against the Rachni, then refuse them equitable representation on the council. A Turian commander of some kind on a desperate mission to repel an unending horde of Krogan combatants that eventually gets sent on a secret mission to pick up, deliver, and implement the Genophage on Tuchanka, and a Solarian Special Forces agent, possibly one that's also a researcher, just like Mordin, that not only helps create the Genophage, but is tasked with ensuring its safe arrival and deployment. In this game, we would get to see why maybe the Genophage was necessary, even if it's regrettable. We get to see firsthand just how conflicted the Turians and the Solarians would have been about the decision as well, right? Even as they asserted its necessity, the Turians and the Solarians certainly had doubts about the implementation of the Genophage. This game would allow us to see things from their perspective in the moment and give us more context about why the Genophage was used in the first place. Mass Effect Special Forces. This game is pretty simple and not very impressive, but basically a game where you get to play as different special task forces. So there would be a mini campaign for each race's special task force about them going on a unique mission. So you would play as a Turian to lead a unit on a secret Black Ops mission using the unique skills and abilities and possibly weapons that Turians have access to, and then ditto for Asari, Krogan, Solarians, Quarians, and so on. Imagine getting to play as a Krogan Battlemaster, or an Asari Commando, or a Solarian STG agent, or alternatively, and I don't really want this, but it would be interesting to see, a Mass Effect Call of Duty / Star Wars Battlefront game, where you can play as the different races and use various Mass Effect weapons and abilities in PvP. Similar to Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, but more fleshed out and definitely much smoother. That might be fun to see. Mass Effect Burning Empire. In this game, you would play as a Prothean during their war with the Reapers. We hear a lot about the Prothean cycle of war from Javik, but a lot of it is pretty vague. Imagine the game starting out showing the splendor of the Prothean Empire, all the races they conquered, all the glories of their civilization, all destroyed by the sudden Reaper invasion. Similar to the Mass Effect 3 intro, but without some retarded random kid ruining it. Then, after some dramatic cutscenes of the devastation, it cuts to like 100 or so years later, where you play as a Prothean commander on some special mission to do something in some effort to stop the Reapers in their own cycle. Maybe by the end, the protagonist's unit, the NPC companions you spend the whole game getting to know and love, get indoctrinated or turned into husks, and you have to end up killing them. And it's this very poignant moment, perhaps similar to that one scene in Shaun of the Dead where he has to kill his own mother. And maybe by the end, you realize that your mission will fail, that the Reapers have overwhelmed you, and you're going to die. So in your last moments, you take the information that was so vital to your mission, and you leave it as a beacon, or something like that for the next cycle to learn from. I'm not a game writer over here. I just had an idea while I was waiting for some crap to warm up in the microwave. The point is, a game where you play as a Prothean during their war against the Reapers and experience the horrors of their cycle would have been awesome. The war with the Reapers went on for a very long time for the Protheans, much longer than it did for the species in the Orig Tridge, and according to Javik, that provided time for much worse atrocities to be committed. Imagine getting to see some desperate attempt to stop the Reapers. We will get to see firsthand the might of the Prothean Empire, and just how little it mattered when they were ultimately exterminated by the Reaper threat. Getting to see the downfall of the Protheans would add a lot more weight to their plight, as well as the desperation of Shepard and Shkler's journey. Right now, we mainly just know it as events that happened in the past, but we don't really get to experience it firsthand apart from a handful of random flashbacks from Beacons or Javik. Mass Effect Spectre. This game would be a dozen or so mini-campaigns or unique missions. The idea for this game is that basically you get to play as a series of Council Spectres sent on various missions. So each mission you would play as a different Spectre that's from a different race and has unique weapons or abilities. You would be tasked by the Council with an imperative, perhaps seemingly impossible mission, which you would then have to complete at your own discretion. Do you sneak and minimize casualties? Do you go in guns blazing? Are you a bulldozer or a shinobi? Do you go the diplomatic route, using your Spectre status to your advantage, or do you sneak in or barge in? I envision this game as being sort of like Hitman, except instead of being sent to kill some random person each mission, you're plopped in somewhere and have to complete the mission given to you by the Council, whatever it may be. Imagine playing as different Solarian, Turian, and Asari Spectres throughout history, doing top-secret missions so critical that they might not even be known to the public. Some of the missions might tie into the story in some way, others may not be related. Some missions may have you escort a critical research team to safety, or extract an important informant, or perhaps eliminate a political enemy, steal research or information, maybe even hunt down a rogue Spectre. This game would give us the chance to not only explore the history of Mass Effect more, but also give us the sorely desired ability to play as non-human species. Mass Effect Citadel. I know this one will sound weird, but I've always wanted a Mass Effect game where you're just a normal person on the Citadel, just living your life. Sort of like a slice of life game, or a romantic comedy, or some sort of thing. Sort of like Life is Strange, but, ran well and without a dumb time travel ability. Anyway, it would have been nice to see how civilians lived in this universe. Like, if you're just a normal person, what's your life like? What's going on? To get to play as a normal person living their lives on the Citadel would have been really nice for people that wanted to more fully explore the social and cultural as well as non-combat aspects of Mass Effect. So here these are my ideas for Mass Effect games that I would have preferred to see instead of that crap-fest Andromeda. If you have a unique idea for a Mass Effect game, I would say leave it in the comments, but I disable them because I don't care what you have to say.